Welcome, listeners, but take heed. We will say whatever we need to share our knowledge, thoughts, and joy, and even things that do annoy. So join us now, but be aware, we have a tendency to swear. We'll dial it back a little bit.
But frankly, we don't give a shit.
Welcome to For Fawkes Sake's Potterheads a History that we're supposed to be doing every single month and struggling with, but we're back this month with a very special guest host.
We are. Everybody, just say hi to Megan.
Yep.
That's Megan right there. We love Megan so much.
Hi.
And then, in case this isn't clear to all of you patrons who get to listen to this first, I'm Ellen.
I'm Katie. Shit. Hi.
We forgot to do that part. That's all right. These are much more casual and conversational.
Yes.
We just kind of like to get together with, sometimes it's just me and Katie. Sometimes we have the pleasure of bringing in somebody like Megan, or the last one we did was with Ashley, and we had a great time doing that.
We love a good threesome. What can I say?
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we just like to have the patron, or ourselves, if it's just us, pick a topic, and then we just talk about it and see what shit comes out of our mouths. So this week, Megan has come up with the topic, the Pensieve.
Or Pensieve.
Or Pensieve, as Katie likes to imitate Alan Rickman as Snape, just to annoy me.
And everybody else, probably.
Or to be French.
That
or
too.
to be French.
I don't see the difference most of the time, but don't say that to the French people. I love the French.
They are lovable, but also hateable.
I feel like you could literally say that about anybody because, let's
That's
be
true.
honest, Americans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
We're the
Americans are
worst.
definitely hateable.
Yeah.
We're loud,
But-
we're obnoxious, we think we're better than everybody else.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, my God.
yes on the first two for me personally, but I don't think I'm better than anybody else, so at least I've got that going for me.
I'm not sure that self-deprecation is really a quality there.
I am voting that it is in this case. So there. It's called
Hey.
extreme humbleness.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're interpreting it as a positive trait, then it's,
Sure, why not?
yeah.
Ha!
It does bring about some phenomenal self-deprecating humor.
It does.
And then there's me, and I'm just really good at being humble.
You're so good at humble.
So, Megan, I know that we've done your sorting hat story before, but since that was who knows how many episodes ago, I do want you to tell us just a little bit about you and your Potter journey and what brought you to us, honestly, because you're an amazing addition to our beautiful patron group.
I love to be here. Thank you. So when I turned 9 on my 9th birthday, my twin brother and we received books 2 and 3. So Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban. Our friends who gave them to us, their mom said, oh, well, we couldn't find the first one, but we've been loving these books. Or I think she just said that she'd heard good things. I don't even know if they had read them yet, but they just had heard such good things about them. I thought, okay, perfect gift. So my mom and dad, all 4 of us, we would read together, I think most nights. We read book 2 first, and we loved it naturally. So my mom went out and she found book 1. So it was kind of unique and funny in the sense that we actually read book 2 first and then book 1 and then continued on. Prisoner of Azkaban was the only one out, the latest one out at that time.
Mm-hmm.
My OCD is freaking out about this right
I
now,
know.
but I'm glad it worked out for you.
It was odd. I mean, looking back, it was odd because I remember, even though I was so young, I do remember going back through when I read book 1. I'm like, why are we like learning all these details? We already know all this. And then like my 9-year-old brain had to try to understand, like, but when other people read, usually they start with the first one. So this is actually information that you would have liked to learn the first time around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do kind of do like the first chapter as a bit of a recap. But did you feel like you were confused about anything? Do you remember that at all?
I can't remember that. I really don't think that we were confused about anything. Especially because particularly the first 3 books are very child friendly. Like
Yeah.
they're at a child level, easy to read. And we had our parents reading them to us anyway. So
They also kind of are a little bit more standalone. Like even though they do
yeah,
build off of one another, it's each one has its own little villain that just kind of ties into the main story.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I agree with that.
Which one's your favorite?
Ooh, favorite book.
Yeah.
Um, it's so hard because actually, I think there's a huge part of me that like I love book three. Prisoner of Azkaban is possibly my favorite book just because when I read it the first time, I just thought there were so many twists and turns. Like I loved the time travel. I thought it was so fun. I was so into it. I remember I said that once in a patron chat, and Sarah was like, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
I think Sarah only started hating it when she had to write it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was messaging me almost daily, asking me questions about how does this work? Why is it the time travel so confusing? I hate the time turner.
Yeah. She's like, if I have to
Yeah.
write Time Turner one more time,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose my mind.
So I think that was less you and your opinions
Yeah.
and more just her trauma from having to write it.
Yes. Exactly.
But Katie and I are over here both nodding our heads because we're like, yeah, book three. That's
Mhm.
where it's at.
We do love some Azkaban.
Yeah.
The ban.
But then my other favorites, I mean, I love the Pensieve. So part of me is like, would book six be my favorite? Because I think it's so fun. I mean, same thing with the travel in book three, though. It's the Pensieve is kind of like time travel. We'll get into that. But
Yeah.
I love it. I just love learning the background and like the mini stories that they provide. I just love it.
I do really love the concept of the Pensieve. I think that it's
Yeah.
really cool. Like, I would love to have something where I could just throw my memories.
And that's one of those things that we were just recently talking about. The last time the Pensieve came up, we were like, I don't know if that was I don't know if that was in an episode or if we were talking about it in the group chat at one point. But we were trying to figure out if you take the memory out of your head to put it in the Pensieve, is it gone from your head? Can you not remember it unless you look at it in the Pensieve? Or is it like plugging your brain into a computer and you're just projecting it onto the wall so that you can look at it as a bigger picture as opposed to try and sort through it in your head?
I mean, yeah, it's an interesting thought, definitely, because I like to kind of think of it as it clears space. So maybe it's like not gone, because then how are you going to remember that you have that memory?
Yeah, you'd literally have to start pouring through the computer of the Pensieve. I keep saying
Yeah.
computer because that's just what my brain computes.
Well, the
it
brain is a
as.
computer, so
Yeah.
there's that.
Why don't we get started into this and go straight into the first discussion point that Megan has listed here because she did some wonderful research, and just start off with what is it? Because at this point you think it's a computer.
Right. Okay, so what is the Pensieve, right? That was my first bullet point because it's interesting because obviously this doesn't exist in our lives.
No.
So I think it's worth talking about. I mean, first of all, pensive. I looked it up. The author explains that it is a homonym for the word pensive to mean like thoughtful, right?
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Oh, so we've been pronouncing it correctly. Go us.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Yeah.
Katie imitating Snape.
Well, I think pensieve, it looks like it should be pronounced that way. But I love the French too because pensieve, because it's so pensive is a word derived from French. I mean, originally from Latin, right? But
Yeah.
it
As
is
is a lot of those Romance languages.
Yes.
right. But yeah, so it's I'm here for it. I'm here for the French pronunciation.
I mean, I just think it's funny that Ellen will say pensive and not Voldemort, but sure.
It's that hard T. That hard T just really gets to me. But pensieve just sounds so like, oh, it's the pensieve.
And Voldemort doesn't.
Voldemort. You have to remember, I am from Dayton, Ohio, and I literally pronounce it Dayton. We don't say our T's either. So,
Mhm.
So it's a T thing that you have.
literally, you asked me where I'm from, Dayton.
Right. Using the glottal stop.
Yep.
It stops in the throat. I have to explain that to my students.
In a way that pensieve does not.
Pensieve. I say pensieve.
Yes.
Voldemort has his Pensieve. Yeah, fine. All right.
Derived from French, originally Latin, though.
And just butchered by me.
Yeah. It's very interesting to me anyway. I mean, I do teach English, so
Yeah.
so I enjoy it. Okay, I'll use the word that we're talking about here. Elle est pensive. Ou bien on peut dire il est pensif. Mais maintenant, la prononciation est différente.
Well,
I'm a little bit turned on right now.
Well.
Can you tell that we've been doing this together for a while?
Oh, that was priceless.
I mean, if there is a way that we can sync that to where we say it at the exact same time.
I mean, we literally
I mean, you
did,
did.
so I will make sure that that's how that comes together. It doesn't hurt that Megan is also absolutely adorable.
Well, there is that too.
Almost as adorable as you guys.
Oh, shucks. Now she's complimentary.
Now it's just a big love fest.
Good God. I do love a threesome. I've said it before, I'll say it again.
Episode title.
Yes. Okay, so what is the Pensieve, right? So it's one thing that I found in the Harry Potter fan wiki page. It mentions, which I know that we are gonna talk more about the book movie compare and contrast issues, during the normal podcast episode. So I don't want to focus on that too much, especially because I'm definitely not a movie. I do not boast about my movie knowledge. Book knowledge, yes.
No, you're fine.
But I'm not. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
You're not Hermione about the movies?
Exactly.
You're not an aficionado.
So anyway, one thing that is different, which is interesting, is that the Pensieve is supposed to be a tabletop item. But then in the movie, it's this giant cauldron looking thing.
It's almost like a giant stone goblet almost.
Yeah.
It makes me think of a baptismal font.
Yes, that's a better word for it. It's a font.
Yeah. So what it says is, so in the fourth film and the fourth book is the first time that we are introduced to the Pensieve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we see the initial difference there, and then we don't see it at all in the fifth film, which we just talked about why in a recent episode.
Because the movie hates us and doesn't want us to be happy.
Because why would it?
Exactly. But then in the sixth film, which we obviously haven't talked about yet, and I don't have this memorized from the movie, but from the Harry Potter wiki page, it says that in the sixth film, it matches up with the book and that it can sit on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But it evidently looks more like metal than stone. But then what I just think is funny, in the eighth movie, evidently this contradiction is resolved because when Harry goes to the headmaster's office and removes the metal dish from the stone basin before watching Severus Snape's memories.
Okay.
Sure.
So it's multi-parts.
Sure.
You've got the giant stone supporter,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have the insert that really does the magic.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
An effort was made.
Yes.
Which is more than we can say for
a
many
lot
other
of
issues.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it supposed to look like in the book, right? So it's described as such. I'm going to quote the book. A shallow stone basin with odd carvings around the edge, runes and symbols that Harry didn't recognize, that we probably wouldn't recognize.
Hermione probably would have.
That Hermione would probably recognize.
She did take ancient runes, so
Yeah, exactly. And then a silvery light was coming from the basin's contents. And so he says that it either looked like liquid or gas, right? And I know that we already talked about this in a previous episode, not we, you guys. I consider myself as part of the
It's
we.
all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a listener.
I mean, we're talking to you, so you may as well
Yeah.
talk back, even if we can't hear you in that moment.
Right?
Oh, and I do. There's so many times I listen to you guys. I'm like, right? Yes. Thank you.
I love it.
That makes me so happy.
Thank you.
So
yeah.
it's satisfying. It's actually, and I should have said this at the beginning, but like, you guys, because I'm just so obsessed with the series that like I needed to talk about it.
Yes.
Because there are things obviously that we need to talk about, right? And I couldn't believe when I found a podcast that was exactly what I was looking for. A book movie compare and contrast. I could not believe it.
We aim to fill the void in your life.
Yes.
That is exactly what you do for me.
Right?
I say this all the time. I don't know if I've said it lately, but talking about Harry Potter is my drug of choice. If it's in trivia form, it's an even better high. But it is ridiculous to me what chemical it produces in my brain and just how excited that I get. And I think that's one of the reasons, I'm going to go ahead and steer in this direction for a second, but I think that's one of the reasons why everything that's been going on with the author has been such a fucking nightmare, because this is something that has literally saved my life more than once. And it's been my escape and my happy place and this insane producer of serotonin. And I'm just like, why do you have to ruin this for us?
Yeah. Why must you suck?
And I know that she is not the story. Yes, she created it, but it is not her. And her views are not the story. Mm-hmm. And I will forever stand up and say, I can love this story and fucking hate what she says outside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really tough because I know it is very difficult for some people to separate that.
Yeah. Well, especially for the people who are being targeted.
Right.
Yes,
by her
definitely.
hateful speech.
And she just doesn't her fear is not, like, it is a fear. And it's not even actually targeted at trans people.
Right.
But she just doesn't care that it is still hurting them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not targeted, but it is definitely directly attacking.
It's like she's throwing a grenade at the issue and doesn't care that there are casualties.
Yeah.
Right.
It is also completely irrational for her to think that letting trans women use a bathroom is taking away a safe space from women. Because a man might put on a skirt and say he's a woman to get into a woman's safe place to attack women. Like, if a man wants to do that, he's going to fucking do that anyway, and that has nothing to do with trans women.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I just really wish she could just shut up.
It's all bullshit.
I wish she could just shut up. I understand. It's not, and I will say this. People on the trans side that are reacting violently themselves, even if it's just verbally, I understand their anger and frustration, but they are just feeding into her views by acting that way. And now we have problems on both sides, and it's only dividing the fandom so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's making it difficult to enjoy something that we all love so much.
Right. It's just so disappointing coming from her, because I always sort of saw her as like an ally.
Right.
Because of how casually she just said so many years ago, like, oh, I always saw Dumbledore's gay.
Right. And I think that's part of the problem too, is she thinks she still is an ally.
Yeah.
Right.
She thinks she still is. And people are like, dude, you're not helping us.
Yeah, she's not seeing the harm that she's causing.
No, there's danger
now.
here. I'm fighting against this danger, but you're not.
Yeah. You're not. You're following a dog whistle is what you're doing.
Like, look at the people who agree with you and tell me that you're on the right side of history.
Yeah, right? Honestly.
Anyway, I had to deviate that because it's fairly fresh right now with that stupid podcast that came out. The Witch Trials.
Oh.
I haven't listened to it. I don't want to, but I also kind of want to, so that I don't speak out of ignorance on it. But I like to formulate educated opinions.
I have no desire.
But I wouldn't call it a desire at all. Like, I don't want to listen. I just don't like being ignorant to things, because that's my big issue with her. I think she's being ignorant.
Right.
Understandable.
But yeah, like, it hurts what we love. And therefore it hurts those that love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that because there's still so many good things about this, and there are still so many people within this fandom that do find the love and enjoyment from it.
Definitely.
And want to talk about it. Which is why we're here.
Right.
But I do think there is a balance between enjoying something and still speaking out against the problematic creator.
Yeah.
But she may have made it up. It wouldn't be anything without the fans.
Oh, yeah. It'd just be words on a piece of paper, honestly.
Yeah.
The reader is what gives it power.
We have all the power.
Yes, we do.
And it is. It created so much magic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out how to get this back into Pensieve talk.
Magic such as the Pensieve.
Yes. Which actually, I mean, magic. So, because I have so many like thought questions here. So one thing that I wanted to be able to do was just sort of like review everything that we learn in the Pensieve and like analyze it, but there's no way that we have time for that.
Let's pick the top ones.
So I think what we're just going to have to do is just tell our listeners to review it. Go read your book or listen to your audiobook so that you know what we're talking about if you get confused at any point. Because I don't think that we're going to have time to just sit here and do like a run through of every episode of the Pensieve,
Yeah,
if you will, or memory in the Pensieve. But so, okay, so the next bullet point that I had really was, so how does the Pensieve work, right? Because this is something that now we're really starting to get into the, like, how does it work? Well, magic, obviously.
definitely, yes. But within that.
It's my favorite way to describe any, how does this work? How did that happen? Why did that work? Magic.
Yeah. Because, so, all right, so the Pensieve, Dumbledore describes the Pensieve as a way to review his thoughts or, you know, try to notice trends or whatever, right? And so that's one thing that you can do with a Pensieve, which is different from reviewing memories. So I kind of did that research and realized that those are separate things.
It's kind of like a magical version of putting all of the pictures on the wall for a detective in the police station.
Yeah. The murder wall, yeah. With the pins and the
Yes, I love that analogy. I think that's such a good way to describe it, like in non-magical terms or you know,
what have you.
Yes. Yeah, non-magical terms.
Thank you. One of a few of my biggest thought questions with the Pensieve, like about how it works, is of course what we already started talking about. Once you take the branches out, because I remember you guys calling it that.
That's what it is.
I mean, I agreed with her, but
we call it branches because that's what it is.
So once you take out the branches and then you put it into the Pensieve, is that thought and memory no longer present in your mind? And the reason why I find support for this is because in book 5, Snape removes the same memory every single time in order to protect his head, in order to keep Harry from being able to see it. So if that memory were still in there, then removing it to put it in the Pensieve is doing him no good.
Oh, that's a good point.
True. Very true. That's why I'm wondering if maybe it's something like there's just a low-res image file of that memory left in your head, so you it's still there.
It's like a link that you have to click on.
Yeah. If it's like he knows that he put something in there. He has the memory of doing it.
Yeah.
And maybe he has, like you're saying, like a vague idea of what the memory is about.
Yeah.
But it's just fascinating.
But then think about the fact that then he goes and puts it back in his head every time. Why not just leave out the trauma?
Right?
Oh, no. Snape wants to remember exactly why he hates James that much.
Well, yes, I know
true.
that because it's Snape, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, maybe we can do without the trauma. Just try it for a day. See if you're happier. Like,
right?
The things I would take out of my head
Oh my God,
Because
right?
the trauma's already done. So if you can't remember what caused the trauma, does that erase the trauma? Or do you still act a certain way and you just have no fucking idea why? And then you can't make any headway on it in the therapy that he desperately needed but never got.
Right.
I also feel like the Pensieve was never meant to be this goddamn deep. But
And it was a very shallow basin.
it was a very shallow basin.
That's the thing, because I'm like, okay, I want to do an episode on the Pensieve, like, thanks for asking, and I'm like, people are gonna be like, why? But I feel like there is stuff to talk about here.
There's a lot
I
to
mean, we
consider.
are already 26 minutes into recording this, and
Right?
hasn't all been pensive, but we're not
Yeah.
done yet.
It's been a good chunk.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's one thought question that I have. Is the memory still in the person's head? Which my argument, and I would love to know what our other keepers think. Do you think that the memory is now only existing in the Pensieve, or do you think it's still in there? And then if so, like, if you do think it's still in there, then why does Snape bother removing it during the acclimacy lessons?
Does Dumbledore, when he's showing memories to Harry, does he take them out and put them in? I'm trying to remember because now it's been a while since I've read the 6th book. I used to reread them multiple times every year, but since we started this podcast, I'm like strictly focusing on whatever book we're on, and I don't read the other ones.
I mean, in the movie, he has that cabinet that he like reaches in and he takes memories out of and puts them in the Pensieve.
The movie doesn't count.
I'm just telling you what I know, Ellen. It's
But,
all
like,
I know.
That's what I'm trying to remember. In the book, is he pulling them out of his head and then putting them in so he can look at memories side by side?
We do see him do that. And then we also, like, in the 6th book, he has them already in vials. Like this first one, dump it in.
Yeah.
Now, Dumbledore, being old and incredibly intelligent, probably literally does need to empty his head a little bit.
But also, side note to that, is a lot of the memories that they were looking at that time belong to other people.
There's that too. He did steal memories from other people.
Yeah, that was probably like I can't imagine you would be able to put other people's memories into your head. I mean, you could, like,
I think he does it through legilimency.
yeah.
It is possible that he could use legilimens to see the memory through somebody else's head, and therefore it's in his own head and he can pull it out.
But now he's got to think about if it's a low res image, because you're making a copy out of what's in their head.
It's really interesting too when you get into the possibility of those memories being modified.
Yes.
And whether that was done skillfully or not.
Yeah.
But back to your point, I am inclined to agree with you, Megan, that once you pull it out of your head, it's essentially gone.
Yeah.
Which I think is fascinating.
Huh.
Just to think that you can take a memory just, like Katie was saying, there are so many things.
It was, yeah.
All the things that like keep me up at night, like, oh, I should have said this when I was 10 years old.
Oh my God, right?
All the cringe moments of my life. Oh my God. I would take them out in a heartbeat.
I do like to remember those cringe moments, so I hopefully don't repeat them.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much we can learn from those that if we remove that completely, we're probably dumb enough to do the exact same thing again.
Yes, but if they're keeping me up at night because I'm like, I'm a terrible person. Why would I do that?
I feel like if you've been forgiven for it, if you think you're a terrible person, but whoever you are the terrible person towards has forgiven you and you can't forgive yourself, then maybe that's a good time to just forget it happened.
I mean, that's a nice thought. Sure. Why don't you hop in my head and...
No, thank you. I'm good.
Didn't think so.
My own head is fucked the fuck up. I don't need yours too.
But yeah, like, or the random amount of song lyrics I know, if I could just yank those out and make room...
Song lyrics, movie quotes.
Movie quotes, yeah. TV quotes, anything.
Yeah.
Like,
you do have a dude brain when it comes to movie quotes.
I do. Your husband and I share...
When you were over at our house to have our fence burning party, you and all of the guys were talking movie quotes, and Yvette and I were just sitting there like, I don't know what they're fucking talking about.
Yeah, I definitely have dude brain movie quotes.
Not with sports ball, but definitely movie quotes.
No, not sports ball. Unless they're really hot. That's all I'm saying.
That's a different kind of stat, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that one better. Katie, why are you watching football with me? Don't worry about it.
Have you seen those
Do you see those buns?
Right?
I like the balls, okay?
I'm cheering for the refs, I swear. That's what I do. Yeah.
This is going to be a fun episode. I hope that the keepers are following. I'm even more excited for Max to have to edit this.
Right?
Right?
He's
Poor
going to enjoy
bastard.
it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I would love to be able to take some things out of my head with the Pensieve, but sadly, we don't get those.
Yeah, our memories don't work that way. Which, that is a whole nother, we could have a whole nother episode just comparing how memory works. Like how actual memory works.
Yeah.
Or doesn't work. And then how it's different from how the Pensieve works. Because that's fascinating in and of itself. But quick plug, for anybody who is interested in false memories, check out the research by Elizabeth Loftus. She's brilliant.
Loftus.
I love her. Elizabeth Loftus. She does a lot of research on false memories, which, again, don't really have time to get into that. But we do talk about it a little bit in the Pensieve because we see in book 6 Professor Slughorn's modified memory.
Yeah.
Shittily modified memory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It just like clouds over in white smoke.
Yeah.
Obviously louder voice. Like,
Right.
it's like bad dubs.
Yeah.
It's almost, in the movie, it's almost like someone going la 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 la. Like covering their ears and just humming.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Why didn't Slughorn just remove the memory?
Right.
Instead of modifying it, why didn't he just take the memory out, put it in a bottle, and forget about it?
Oh, yeah, true. Destroy the bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, what happens to a memory when you take out what happens to the branches? If
That's
it's
what I
not
was
in your
wondering
head,
too. Like,
or in a vial, or in the Pensieve.
I think we maybe found our pondering for the patron group. Because when Snape took that memory out, and it was just like exuding from him, and he was like, take it. Like, in the movie, it was a tear, but it was just like every orifice was just like leaking branches in the book.
Dirty. The brain is funny.
The brain is funny.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure that this isn't as well thought out as we are pondering into it in general, because as Katie said, it's not that deep. Shallow basin and all.
Yeah.
But it's fun to think about and come up with your own fan theories of
Yeah.
how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of the great things about this series. It's just so rich in detail, but leaving enough open-ended that you can really explore your own thoughts and how things work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in the Pensieve, so there is one memory that Dumbledore shows Harry in the 6th book. His conversation with Burke from Borgin and Burke's.
Oh, yeah.
He shows him that. They don't delve in, right? It's just a little one-ended conversation that we see about him talking about when he purchased the necklace from Merope, he got such a good deal, saying how she was clearly very desperate and very pregnant or whatever.
Assumed that she had stolen it and
Yes.
just completely ripped her off for it.
Yeah.
And then he puts in his memory about it's chapter 13 in book 6. I loved this scene. I thought she was hilarious. That was so fun. And then we get to actually meet child Tom Riddle, right? Voldemort. I just think it's so interesting. But I think we're just gonna have to keep content for like another day, because otherwise we're gonna be talking about this forever. Because mostly what I want to know,
Yeah.
is your whole body actually inside the Pensieve? Because I pictured it like he just, like in the 4th book, like accidentally he gets a little bit too close because he wants to see more, and then his nose touches it, and then he says that like the room gave a lurch, and it like he like tumbled in, falling through like this icy black, and then he was in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Was he actually inside the Pensieve because, magic, or was he just standing there like a bird with his butt and his
with
feet
his
hanging
nose
out.
out. Yeah.
I like to believe that what you just acted out that I wish everybody could have seen because her headphones went flying and it was amazing.
I agree. It was really pretty adorable. Yeah.
I like to believe that he is just face down in this bowl with the rest of his body, like he's just face first into it, and that it's all happening in his head.
Yes.
So he feels like he's fallen into it.
We've talked about that a little bit before too, where it's like, so if somebody just walks in, they just see you face down in a pool of liquid.
Like drowning
nobody,
yourself.
Yeah. That just feels like terribly just leaving your whole body and your whole being just open for attack.
Yes.
I am too paranoid for that.
Well, and then if you think about the scene where he's in the courtroom, he's sitting there watching everything go down, and then there's a Dumbledore on his right and a Dumbledore on his left, and then I just imagine both Harry and Dumbledore
just
with their faces in there.
In it. Yeah.
And I think for the humor of that visual, that's what I want it to be. But it could be a magical thing that actually transports them into the memory in some way. Because port keys are a thing. Like, I don't see why it's not possible that that Pensieve couldn't take them somewhere in a magical realm where they can witness a memory as if they're part of it, even though they're aside from it as well. But I like the idea of just face down in the Pensieve, and that's what's going on. Right. I think my brain wants to accept that one more than anything else just because of the hilarity.
Yes. But that kind of brings to like other like thought questions that I had too. So Harry sticks his head in there because he's just curious and meddling.
Because he's Harry.
Yeah, because he's Harry. Just coincidental lands in these memories that are highly related to what's going on that year with all the mystery, with like the problems that are happening at Hogwarts, and it's to Karkaroff, who's at the school right now. So was it because he had just been reviewing them and Harry just happened to see the most recent ones? Because otherwise I feel like he could have ended up in the memory about Dumbledore's sister, and we could have had that explained a lot sooner.
Yeah.
I'm still firmly in the camp that Dumbledore did that on purpose. He was reviewing them and left them in there and didn't close the door all the way so Harry could see it too. That just feels very Dumbledore to me. But I don't think that you just keep all of the memories in there. I think it's just the memories you want to look at that are in there, and he otherwise puts them back in his brain or stores them in his little bottles. So I think those were what he was looking at.
Oh, yeah.
And they were still in there when visitors showed up, and that is just where it ended. So if Harry had stuck his nose in that when Dumbledore hadn't been using it, there may not have been any memories in it for him to see.
Then there wouldn't have been anything in it for him to see, so he wouldn't have theoretically stuck his nose in it to begin with. He'd just been like, oh. Or maybe he would have been like, cool, I'm thirsty. Here, a basin of water. Let me get a drink.
He's not in Ravenclaw.
I don't even want to know what the fuck happens if you drink whatever's in the Pensieve.
You end up with shit memories?
Like I said, I don't want to think about it. That's why I said that.
Is that why you brought it up?
That's my point. That's why I brought it up, yes, because I don't want to think about it at all.
We need to get you a Pensieve so you can pull that one out of your head.
Boy, if I had one, oof.
Game changer. All right, so moving on. Are we done with how it works, or was there anything else?
I think so. That was my big question about like how it works. Like, are you just standing there with your head in the sand, or do you actually like physically get entirely wholly like into the basin?
Correct me if I'm speaking out of turn, but I think that was a unanimous yes. You're just standing there with your face in the basin.
Yeah, I think we've decided that's canon. If any of the keepers want to argue with us, though, they can argue with us. We'll see what they say.
And we can show them that comic and tell them that they're wrong, and this is how it is.
And then come back later.
So the other thing too, because we were talking about like how does the Pensieve know which memory to take you into if it's like random or whatever, and we're saying, well, we think that Dumbledore, and in the case of book 4, we think Dumbledore had those memories in there because he genuinely was reviewing them, but then left it open because he's like, you know what, it would be good for Harry to see this.
He definitely had several of those.
Oh yeah. But one thing, so what I did read, the author had said on her website that pensieves are rare because only the most advanced wizards ever use them, and because the majority of wizard kind is afraid of doing so. The perceived dangers of the pensieve relate to the power, to its power over memory or thought. The pensieve is enchanted to recreate memories so that they become relivable, taking every detail stored in the subconscious and recreating it faithfully so that either the owner or, and herein lies the danger, a second party is able to enter the memories and move around within them. Inevitably, those with things to hide, those ashamed of their pasts, those eager to keep hold of their secrets or protective of their privacy, will be weary of an object like the pensieve. So that's obviously highly relatable to what Harry, invades, the
Yeah.
memories that Harry invades.
And that does make a lot of sense why they are so rare and solves a plot hole for her. But I never really thought of that how you really could just completely invade somebody else's privacy way too easily, because you could potentially go up to them while they're sleeping and pull memories out of their head. And I don't know how you could find specific memories. Yeah, I don't know that you could do that, but it could be whatever they're dreaming about at that moment or whatever.
Well, then that's on you if you're gonna jump into my dreams. Good fucking luck, buddy. Enjoy your new trauma. That's all I'm saying.
But even if it was like a situation with Dumbledore where he did have memories stored that he could access, could you imagine if somebody just got a hold of Dumbledore's memories? It also kind of makes me wonder, does he leave them to the future headmasters?
So I did read that is the Hogwarts pensieve, not technically Dumbledore's pensieve. So it does stay. The pensieve stays. And so I guess when he died, any of his memories that were in the pensieve are accessible to the future headmasters and headmistresses.
It's like a time capsule.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
how many of those memories were past headmasters and headmistresses too?
Maybe they each have their own cabinet.
The rest of them are all just somewhere in the room of requirement.
Yes.
I need to find Branges. Yes. I need to find Branges.
Damn it, this isn't the Branges I need. I need other Branges.
It also kind of answered a question that you had put in your notes that you didn't really go over. The thought or memory comes out of someone's mind, but it's not viewed from that person's eyes. So it's really interesting to think that because of the magic enchantment within the pensieve, it actually just encapsulates, I guess, all of your senses from that memory. So even if you don't process it mentally, you still would remember smells and everything you see and everything you hear, even if it didn't fully ingrain itself. And like where you walked, and it would explain how Harry was able to keep Snape in sight, but also follow his father in that memory.
Right. Yeah. And hear things and sense things that Snape might not have realized that he sensed, but must have.
Yeah.
Right. And it does kind of go along with the whole concept that we don't use our whole brains. So it's entirely possible that we're processing things that we don't even realize we pick up on, and we just have no way of accessing it. But a pensieve lets you.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Well, so we call that selective attention, right? So because it's one of my colleagues is very alarmed when he hears people say that we don't use our whole brains.
Right.
Because obviously we use our whole brains. It's just not all at once. So yes, it's selective attention. Yeah. I mean, you can only, your sensory input, right? You can only pick up on so many things at a given time. But yeah, so that's why I like that she mentions the subconscious, which, I mean, using that term can be tricky too.
Yes, it's magic.
Yes.
But yes, in this case, it's magic, right? So I like it. I mean, I love the pensieve. I love the element that it added to the books. I love what we learned, seeing all the mini stories. Yeah,
I think it's a great concept. Like I said, if I'd have 5 if they were real.
I do really like the idea.
Yeah, but I'd forget where I put them. And
Yeah.
like,
I do really like the idea of how Dumbledore predominantly used it, where he would take those memories that he knew connected in some way, but put them all in there at once and look for those connections and those patterns.
yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Dumbledore was definitely a detective.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I like the idea, like, I could have a travel one. I could have one for my car. And then, and then one that I keep, like, upstairs. So I don't have to, like, constantly go up and down
You
the
just need,
stairs.
like, a small one for your keychain.
There we go. I need, like,
Yeah.
like a travel pensive. And
Yeah.
just like one of those collapsible bowls that you take on a walk with a dog for water.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you do something embarrassing at an amusement park, hello.
Hello. Fuck, I forgot about. Damn it! You got into my pensive and you reminded me of that. God
I
damn it.
did. I ran up behind Katie when we were at Universal and I smacked her ass.
No! You did not smack my. You grabbed. You
Okay, I
got
grabbed her ass.
2 whole handfuls of my ass. Like you dug your nails in, my friend.
Okay, but it was hard to not dig those nails. They were long and pointy. Anyway,
Oh yeah, she dug
my
her nails
hands
in.
touched her butt in a manner. And she responded by just going, hello. But it was right as these 2 guys walked by and she just full on made eye contact with one of them as she said, hello.
It was dead eye contact. It was like hello right at the guy.
And he
she
thought
goes,
she was
"Hello?"
talking to
I
him.
was like, no, not you. Not.
And Katie wishes she had a pensive for that, but I am her pensive for that, so I keep reminding her of it.
Fuck me. God damn it.
Well, I'm crying now, so thank you. I'm very happy that I
But
got
that
to
is
delve into
definitely
that
a
memory.
good example of a memory that Katie would like
That
to
is
forget forever.
absolutely a memory I would like to forget.
Which is exactly why I can't let her forget it.
Oh my god. You know what?
Oh, man.
Okay. I just thought of the perfect use for a pensive. Perfect
Okay.
use for a pensive, right? When you're telling somebody about a story about something that happened, and then you go, you had to be there.
Oh my god, you could show them.
Show them! You could literally be like, wait, I got it. Pull out some brain jizz, stick it in their travel pensive, and be like, here, stick your nose in this. And like, they could like relive the memory with you, and then they come back out and they're like, no, it's still not funny. And you're like, but the point is, you essentially lived it now, so there.
But I feel like it is entirely possible they could also come out of it and be like, you're right, I did have to be there. That was
There's
great.
that too. It's just in my experience, it probably wouldn't work like that, but
There is nothing worse than telling somebody a story where you're dying while you're retelling it, you're laughing
they're staring at you
hysterically,
blankly.
and they're just staring at you like you're insane,
Yes.
and then you're like, and then I found $5?
Yeah, my uncle and my cousin, they were the biggest dicks about long story. When I used to tell a long story, to the point where the phrase long story short, I don't say that. I say long story made little less long. But anytime I would tell them a long story, my uncle would look at me just dead in the eyes and just go, that was a great story, tell it again. And that one line just, it makes you feel so stupid.
I had a friend that is also a long storyteller, and when he'd get to that point where he would actually say, to make a long story short, I'd just be like, it is too late for that.
Yeah.
See?
We passed short like 10 minutes ago.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say long story, little less long. Because it doesn't make sense to say it's short. It's not short. It's me.
No.
And it's a long ass story.
I feel like your long stories get even better when you're high.
That's because I lose track of what I'm saying halfway through.
Uh-huh. I remember the first time that we ever did one of these episodes where we got high and watched the movie.
Oh,
And like by the end of the movie, all I could do was eat food into the microphone, and Katie was just telling story after story that had nothing to do with Harry Potter. I was just like, I'm not editing these. I cannot go back and listen to this. Like, if you guys really want to watch the movie with us, Good luck.
Good fucking luck. It was half me telling stories and half me looking for my goddamn water. That's
Oh my god, I forgot about that. No, I was just like Cheeto. No, like the cheese puffs.
Yeah.
I'm like in the microphone with the intention of saying things about the movie, but all I can do is eat.
just chewing. Just.
I would definitely like to Pensieve that out.
Yeah.
But it's recorded. It is. Those aren't ones that we put up on Facebook
Yes.
or YouTube or anything. Those are ones that only the patrons can
yes.
access.
We don't share those. No.
No. Not so public.
The patrons are lucky they get to hear that. Well, I don't know if lucky's the word, but you know what I mean.
We actually had Discord up for that one as well. So we actually had people watching along with us and getting to listen live.
That's right. That was
We
fun.
need to be able to do that again. That was really fun.
Well, we still have to do 3 and 4.
Yeah, we haven't done 3 yet.
We'll have to do 5 soon.
But anyway, we have again gotten off topic because that happens here with us. Was there anything else about the Pensieve that you really wanted to touch base on?
So those are pretty much my biggest talking points with like what it is and how it works. I did enjoy, like, I appreciated in the first time when he stuck his head in there and he sees himself sitting in the courtroom next to Dumbledore and he's like, oh my God, Professor, I'm so sorry I was meddling, but it's kind of my MO. But Dumbledore just keeps ignoring him. And then he
waves his hand in front of him, and that settled it. He would never ignore him like that.
Which, like, foreshadowing.
Until he gets to the 5th book.
Exactly.
Right? And then 5th book, Dumbledore's like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you said, I wouldn't do
hold my
something.
butterbeer.
Yeah. But I appreciated that Harry did sort of have a Ravenclaw moment because he realized it was a memory because of his experience in the second book when
the diary.
Yeah, with the diary. So I did appreciate that. I was like, good for you, Harry.
I mean, as much as we love to make fun of Harry, he really does truly have clever moments. It's just that his Gryffindor brain takes over way too much.
Yeah.
Or I should say his Gryffindor instincts take over his brain is what it is.
Yeah.
Because as a Gryffindor, definitely do not always think before I act.
What? You?
But when I do put my brain to it, I could be Ravenclaw. It's just not my instinct, and it's definitely not Harry's instinct.
And as a Slytherin, I overthink.
What? No, you what? No.
It's all I know how to do.
You think.
Overthink. Specifically overthink.
No, I was talking with Len, and he said the same thing to me. He's like, you're overthinking. You know that I do this. Like, come on.
Someone was like, you're overthinking again. I'm like, I don't have any other kind of thinking available to me. I don't know what you want.
I'm certainly not going to underthink.
Right? Honestly.
At least I'm thinking.
That is a good point. Could be worse.
But I feel like a Pensieve could be really handy for that as well. When you're trying to, like, assess a situation that'll really cause you to overthink, and you could look like, oh, this is where I went wrong. This is what I need to avoid doing in the future.
Like, oh, I see what they're saying.
It would be
now.
an overthinker's fucking wet dream.
Right?
Of brain jizz.
Wet dream of brain jizz.
My only problem is I'd just be in the Pensieve all day, so I wouldn't be able to, like, actually
Oh,
go out
yeah,
and live
shit.
my
No,
life.
we cannot let you get a Pensieve, now that I think about it.
Well, that's one of the other dangers, too, that they mentioned on the website is like, well, you could just get lost in your thoughts.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
Yeah. Literally.
Like,
Yeah.
I think, damn it. Now I'm thinking about this, and I'm realizing how bad it would actually be for me to have one. Because I would just constantly, like, I'd go back to when I was in my 20s and had a really good
Remember how
night.
you were like, I imagined that I sent this text already?
Right?
You're just going to think that you sent it because you're going to, like, watch yourself
Yeah.
sending other messages. And you're going to be like, no, I remember doing that. Like, you didn't. You didn't do it.
No, I would be
Yeah,
like...
no, Pensieves are kind of not good.
I would absolutely... I'd go back to when I got to go to England in 2005, and I would just, like, live in that memory.
Oh my God, I would go with you then.
I would just live there. Forever.
I would go with you.
It was an easier time.
Like, please take me to England, Katie.
Oh, we need to.
How sucky would it be, though, to do that through someone's memory and not actually get to manipulate the experience in any way, shape, or form?
True.
Like, just to be a bystander. I mean, it'd be better than not getting to go at all, but you can be like, I really want to taste that tea. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, that would...
Tea was just the first England thing I could think of. I'm sure there's better options.
You're welcome, Max.
Yes.
I mean, I can remember some really good sandwiches I had. So there's that. That's...
Yay. I wonder if you can experience taste through someone's memory as well.
I don't know. Maybe it depends on if that's what the person also was tasting.
Yeah.
Like, if you go into someone's memory of them eating the best sandwich in the fucking world, are you also experiencing eating the best sandwich in the fucking world, or are you only watching them enjoy it?
I think not, because when I think it was James did Scourgify against Snape and the suds kept coming out, Harry didn't say anything about being able to taste the soap himself.
True.
Huh.
I don't know.
Interesting. That definitely takes some of the lure away from it.
A little bit, yeah.
So apparently, sense-wise, we maybe only get sight, sound, and touch, maybe.
Maybe too, yeah.
Maybe? No, don't people walk through
I was gonna
Harry
say,
in memories?
Like, probably not, because, well, I mean, in the movie, like, somebody sits down on Harry, don't they? Or, like...
Oh, yeah. They shake his hand.
Yeah. Oh,
they
yeah. They
right
reach
through
him to shake his hand. That's right.
Yeah.
He's like a ghost.
Yeah.
Ooh. Harry Potter.
Good old Barty Crouch Sr.
Anything else before we start wrapping up?
No, I think we're in a good place. I think that, like, when we're feeling up to it, like when it's my turn again, I think we should do another one where we only talk about what we learn in the Pensieve. Like, now I feel like we talked about like what it is and how it works. I feel like we covered that pretty well, along with like all of our different tangents.
We can do part 2 to this episode
definitely
whenever
do
you
part
want. When did you say you'd be available again, in like August or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want, we can do part 2
I'm
then.
here
I'm
for
fine
part
with
2, for sure.
It was so fun.
We have quite a few things that we can ponder about in here.
We do.
So we're going to just post some of these questions up on the Patron Facebook group and let you guys comment away. If you have your own thoughts, you can add them to it. It'll just be like a specific post. That is our goal. In an ideal world, we're going to get things more organized and figure out our schedule with Katie's new work schedule and my whole thing with my mom. It's been a lot lately, and we are trying to keep up, and we definitely need to revamp a little bit. So that is in the works. We want to do a Potterheads of History once a month.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be me and Katie. It might be us being high and watching the next movie. It might be us bringing in somebody amazing like Megan or Ashley or Max again. Who knows? If you are interested in doing one, let us know. If you just want us to talk about something specific, let us know. And we will do what we can. I know we have a house elf ones that we've been saying we're going to talk about forever. So that is somewhere in the works as well.
Yes.
But our goal is to, every time we make one of these, we're going to make a post on the Facebook patron page, our group, so that we can discuss this episode once you've listened to it. And we're going to be linking this onto the Patreon audio thing, which is how we've been doing these. And then we're going to also put a version up on YouTube, so that after you guys get to listen first, anybody will be able to listen. Because I know that some of you patrons are no longer on Patreon, but we are kind of the mindset, once a patron, always a patron. So
yes,
if you help support us, you have a special place in our hearts. So we want to make sure that everybody can have access to these, especially when we have amazing special guest hosts like Megan. She might want to share this with other people. And we need to put it someplace where she can do that. And Ashley, I know we said we were going to do that for your episode, and I promise you it's going to happen this summer. I'm going to get caught up, I swear. Love you. But yeah, so Megan, thank you so much for this idea.
Yes.
And joining us. Sorry we had to push it off several times,
gosh, no.
but we got there in the end.
Perfect timing. My semester's done, so I'm so happy that you guys had me on. It was fun. I hope that people enjoy listening to it. I think that you guys are hilarious, and I hope that I brought up good talking points. So hopefully it's going to be enjoyable for everyone.
I can't wait for part 2. So
yay!
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed recording with you.
Yes.
So
this was good times.
I think that says a lot for how this episode is going to come out. We had fun. You're going to have fun listening.
Yep. Or you're just going to be like, what on earth did I just listen to?
Right? Like, was that the most disorganized episode yet? Maybe. But was it fun?
It definitely wasn't. You have absolutely no idea the magic that I pull behind the scenes on our episodes.
Also, they never heard us high if they think that this would be the most disorganized.
I don't know that
episode
Megan's
ever.
gotten to.
Megan, get on our level. I'm just saying.
I'll have to see if there's a way that I can share. At least you can just get a taste of it. You do not have to listen to the entire thing, but
No.
you might have to
We
get
actually
a
don't
taste of
recommend
what it was
it,
like
if
trying
we're
to watch
honest.
those movies with us. And then we did the second one with Sarah,
Yes.
and we didn't even finish the movie.
We gave up because we were getting.
Katie and Sarah both got so high they couldn't even function. It was great. It was great.
It's good times.
But yeah, so
Anyway.
again, thank you for joining us. Say
Yes.
bye, Megan.
Bye.
Megan, we're glad you came to hang out with us. It was a good
Yeah,
time.
that was so much fun. Oh, hearts.
Thanks for listening. We hope you hear us again. I'm Katie,
I'm Ellen.
and in the meantime,
Keep calm and Harry on.
oh, for fuck's sake.